Hello and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 battle report from the Legion Wargaming. Today we find ourselves in a real war zone. We have defence lines, redoubts, bunkers, all abandoned, but clearly there has been a major conflict going on here. The battle today is 2,000 points, Space Marines of the Vanguard chapter versus Astra Militarum. The battlefield is 6 foot by 4 foot and has some broken rocky ground marking one of its boundaries, some disused landing pads, and down the other end we have some disused and ruined industrial buildings marking the other boundary. The terrain is defence lines built into rocky outcroppings, some bunkers, but a lot of open ground as well. The mission is Cloak and Shadows. Let's have a look at the armies. This 2,000 point Astra Militarum army is a single combined arms detachment. Their first HQ slot, he is not Knight Commander Pask, but he is Knight Commander Pask's Commissar cousin, and he has brought with him a Leman Russ Executioner with all plasma cannon sponsons and a las cannon in the hull. He's also brought along a Leman Russ Demolisher with a las cannon and 2 more Leman Russ battle tanks. We also have a Vulture gunship with twin-link Punisher cannons, and just to show that they're not messing around in terms of armour, he has requisitioned a Shadow Sword super heavy tank in this 2,000 point game. Let's see how the Ravens deal with that. As well as armour, he has brought along a lot of guardsmen. Filling the 2 troop slots, we have 2 platoons, each with a platoon command squad. First one with 2 plasma guns, second one with 3 melter guns, both with Voxes, and each platoon has 3 full infantry squads to put a lot of bodies on the table. Let's see how the Vanguard think they can deal with this. This 2,000 point Vanguard list starts off with a combined arms detachment led by a captain on a bike, Artificer armour, relic blade, and for his troop choices he has a squad of bikers, 2 melter guns, attack bike with multi-melter, and a 5-man tactical squad with a melter gun, and the sergeant has a combi melter. His fast attack, he has bought a squadron of 3 land speeders, all with heavy flamers and multi-melters, and then the seldom seen Vanguard Terminators in an elite slot, along with the ironclad Dreadnought. He has 2 heavy flamers, and the Terminators also have a heavy flamer, and they will be travelling in their Storm Raven gunship. This is the combined arms detachment, and the Vanguard have decided that the solution to the open plains of the war zone is speed. So they have brought along a Bladewing Assault Brotherhood led by a chaplain with a jump pack. They have a squad of Vanguard with lightning claws and 2 squads with power fists and storm shields. And backed up at the back with 2 assault squads, each with 2 flamers. Formation that we've not seen before. Certainly very capable in close assault and capable of covering ground very quickly. So we shall see how they get on against the Imperial Guard armoured fist. On to deployment. As you can see, the Imperial Guard line following their deployment is looking extremely formidable. Starting on their right flank, we have Commissar Pask and his phalanx of Lehman Russes ready to give fire all the way across the table. They have a huge platoon of guardsmen just in front of them, ready to swarm forwards through the barricades and start contesting objectives. Then right in the centre they have the Shadow Sword super heavy tank. Its gun can reach anywhere on the battlefield from there, so it is a worrying prospect for the Space Marines. And another huge platoon of guardsmen have come swarming out of this bunker complex, looking to move up. The guardsmen can easily reach objectives 2, 4 in the centre, and 6 next to this bunker. You can seize that with their armour. Moving on to the Raven Guard deployment. On their far right they've deployed their land speeder squadron, looking to move over all this open ground at the Imperial Guard line. And the captain and the bike squad with melters currently holding objective 1. But likewise must be feeling quite intimidated at the line that the Astra Militarum have formed in the distance. Raven Guard centre is relatively bare, but then in this defensive redoubt we have a swarm of Marines with jump packs. We have the tactical squad who's holding objective 5, and we have both assault squads, the Vanguard veterans with lightning claws, and both squads of Vanguard veterans with power fists, led by their chaplain. They've got a lot of ground to cover, and the Guard have a huge amount of firepower to put down. The Guard deployed first, so they should be getting the first turn. Let's hope those Raven Guard chapter tactics allow the Marines to weather the absolute storm of fire that will doubtless be coming at them. Moving on to Astra Militarum, turn 1. The Raven Guard failed to seize the initiative, so we are in Astra Militarum turn 1, and the objectives they've drawn have been a bit of a lucky break for the Raven Guard. They have to secure objective 5. I don't think they have the speed to do that this turn, and they also have to recon all of the objectives on the battlefield, and they have to secure objective 5 again. So a very lucky draw for the Ravens there. Let's see what the Guard decide to do, going into their first movement phase. End of Astra Militarum movement phase turn 1, and the Guardsmen are obviously feeling confident due to the presence of their heavy armour, as the Guard platoons have come running forwards, and they have seized control of objective 2 and objective 4, occupying these barricades. Shadow Sword has adjusted its sights. I think he is looking at the Space Marine captain and his retinue of bikers. 2 Lehman Russes with battle cannons, happy that they've got the whole table comfortably within their range, have held position, and the sound of large calibre shells being fed into breaches can be heard. And the Lehman Russes here have moved round, looking to flank the Space Marine position and bring the Demolisher cannon and the plasma cannons to bear on the Assault Brotherhood. This could be painful going in to Astra Militarum, turn 1, shooting phase. End of Astra Militarum, turn 1, shooting phase, and their shooting was quite effective, but could have been much, much worse. The Leman Russ Demolisher opened up on the Vanguard with power fists and storm shields. Thankfully their storm shields did a good job and only one fell. The Leman Russ Executioner and the big guard platoon, who were ordered by the lieutenant to fire in ranks, managed to wipe out one of the assault squads hiding in these rocks, earning the Astra Militarum first blood. The Leman Russ battle tanks opened up on this position with their battle cannon, but again a lot of cover saves were made and only one of the Lightning Claw Vanguard veterans fell. The Shadow Sword landed its volcano cannon right on the bikers. Fortunately, a heroic biker marine pushed his captain clear to stop him being vaporised, but two bikers still fell, and they have jinked, as did the land speeders when the Shadow Sword targeted them with its other weaponry. So a good turn of shooting from the Astra Militarum. They have earned first blood. Didn't kill as many Vanguard veterans as they would have liked, but they have done a very good job of suppressing the Raven Guard right flank, who have all jinked now. With no assaults, objectives at the end of Astra Militarum, turn 1, well, they couldn't really get to objective 5, and they did not have anything quick enough to take a look at objective 3, so they don't have recon either. They do have first blood, meaning at the end of Astra Militarum, turn 1, the score is 1 point to the Guardsman, nothing yet to the Raven Guard. Going into Raven Guard, turn 1. Start of Raven Guard, turn 1, and the objectives that they've drawn have been quite fortunate for the Guardsmen. They have to secure objective 6, currently being held by the Leman Russ Executioner, and quite a long way even for the Assault Brotherhood to get to this turn. They have to achieve psychological warfare. May be doable, and they have to recon all the objectives. So if they do that, the Guardsmen will get a point as well, meaning it doesn't really give them any advantage. Still, let's see what they do, going into their first movement phase. End of Raven Guard turn 1 movement phase, and in its haste to bring its Demolisher cannon to bear, the Leman Russ Demolisher has driven a bit close to one squad of Vanguard with power fists. So I think he might be in for a bit of a fisting. The other Vanguard are moving up the table, trying to run into some cover so that they can get near to the line of Imperial Guard armour. The remaining assault squad from the Bladewing Brotherhood has leapt up. They've reconned objective 3, and they have their sights set on this guard platoon. They are hugely outnumbered, but they cannot just remain in the rocks taking fire. The tactical squad have held position. There's not a lot they can do for the time being, and the captain, just like the Vanguard over on the left flank, has realised that he cannot hang back. He needs to cover the ground to the Imperial Guard line. He is in assault range. Land speeders moved quickly up the flank. How they wish that they hadn't jinked so they could use their heavy flamers on this big squad of guard. The Shadow Sword making them jink has really saved his comrades' bacon. Let's see what little fire the Raven Guard can put out in their shooting phase. End of the Raven Guard's first shooting phase, and unsurprisingly enough their fire did absolutely nothing at all. The Vanguard with lightning claws have run into the bunker, and these Vanguard with power fists and the chaplain have run up as well. The land speeders have zipped over behind the cover of that bunker, and could they be lining up for an attack run across the Imperial Guard armour line with their multi-melters in a later turn? Certainly looks like it. The captain and his remaining bikers and the assault marines have not fired. They do not want to make their charges any harder than they already are, but they really need to get into close assault with the guardsmen because they cannot stand up to the fire being put out. And the Vanguard with power fists right over on the left flank are preparing themselves to take out the Leman Russ demolisher. Let's see how the Raven Guard get on going into their first assault phase. End of Raven Guard turn 1 assault phase, and it has been a good one. The Vanguard veterans with power fists blew the Leman Russ demolisher to bits very, very easily. They really are fantastic at tank hunting. The heroic assault marines made their charge. The guardsmen unleashed a devastating volley of overwatch, taking out 2 of the charging space marines. The 3 that made contact did manage to kill 8 of the guardsmen, but the weight of return attacks dragged down all 3 space marines, wiping the squad out and leaving the guard still in possession of this line of barricades. The captain and his bikers likewise charged into this huge guard platoon. Another overwatch volley crashed out and wounded the captain, but he absolutely ploughed into the guardsmen, personally taking out 4 of them. Again, he took a wound in return due to the huge number of attacks, but the guardsmen lost the combat, tried to fall back, and the victorious bikers rode them down. It's always a bit of a risk when you field the guard in these huge combined squads. So the Raven Guard have done quite well in their first assault phase, although they have already taken a lot of casualties. Let's see how they got on with achieving their objectives. End of Raven Guard turn 1, and they managed to achieve recon of all the objectives on the battlefield, and they also get a point for psychological warfare thanks to the heroics of their captain, bringing the score at the end of the Raven Guard's first turn to 2 points to the Raven Guard and only 1 point to the Astra Militarum. Going into Astra Militarum turn 2. Beginning of Astra Militarum turn 2, and their objectives are recon, which they're going to keep because the Raven Guard achieved it for them during their first turn. They've discarded 1 of their secure objective 5s, but they've had to keep the other one, and the new card they've drawn is secure objective 6, which the Leman Russ Executioner is currently holding. Going into Astra Militarum movement phase, in their second turn, I think I hear the sound of a vulture gunship approaching. End of Astra Militarum turn 2 movement phase, and Commissar Pask has realised that the Vanguard do represent a very real threat to his armoured division. So he has driven up himself and he has called in air support from the Vulture gunship to help deal with these elite Space Marines. He's also ordered the 2 Leman Russ battle tanks at the back to train their battle cannon on the veterans, and he's called the nearest guard platoon in support as well. They are going to add their las fire to the fire coming from his tanks. The Shadow Sword has also turned and trained its volcano cannon on the Vanguard veterans. The 2 platoon command squads, the one still in the bunker with its plasma guns and the one with melter guns, have been ordered by their lieutenants to take down the Space Marine captain to protect their prized super heavy tank. Let's see how they get on going in to Astra Militarum's second shooting phase. End of Astra Militarum, turn 2 shooting phase, and it has been utterly devastating. The Vanguard veteran squad here with the chaplain were taken down by fire from the Leman Russes, the Guard platoon, the Shadow Sword and the Executioner, all wiped out. The Punisher and Pask have left the Vanguard squad on the far left that just destroyed the Demolisher with only 1 Space Marine remaining. He has held morale. The platoon command squads opened fire on the captain and his bikers. They took out his last biker with a melter gun and put 1 wound on the attack bike. But at the end of this shooting phase, the Raven Guard are looking a little bit thin on the ground on the table. They still have the land speeders. They still have the captain, although he only has 1 wound left. But the Bladewing Assault Brotherhood are nearly all wiped out. With no assaults, let's see how the Guardsmen got on achieving their turn 2 objectives. End of Astra Militarum turn 2, and they managed to secure objective 6 with the Leman Russ Executioner, and thanks to the Raven Guard they've also achieved recon, bringing the score at the end of their second turn to 3 points to the Astra Militarum, 2 points to the Raven Guard, coming in to Raven Guard turn 2. Beginning of Raven Guard turn 2, and their objectives are to secure objective 3, not currently held but they really don't have anyone particularly near it, secure objective 6 and assassinate. They've certainly got plenty of Imperial Guard characters to choose from. Still, their reserves are coming in. Let's see how they get on. Raven Guard turn 2, movement phase. End of Raven Guard turn 2 movement phase, and the Bladewing Assault Brotherhood are not out of the fight yet. The lone remaining Vanguard with his power fist has come storming through the smoke of the exploded Demolisher, and he wants revenge on Commissar Pask for his brothers. Will also help achieve assassinate. The Vanguard veterans with Lightning Claws have moved through the terrain, and they want to take out the Executioner and seize objective 6. The Storm Raven has arrived carrying the Ironclad Dreadnought and the Terminators, but for this turn he's going to target the supporting Leman Russ battle tanks. The captain has moved up. He wants revenge on the Imperial Guard for the loss of all of his battle brothers. He wants to assassinate the lieutenant, and the land speeders have come zooming over the top of the bunkers with their heavy flamers ready. There's another lieutenant on the parapet of that bunker. Another chance to get 3 points for assassinate. Coming into Raven Guard turn 2 shooting phase. End of Raven Guard turn 2 shooting phase, and they've come storming back into this game with a very effective phase. The Storm Raven, who came flying on, targeted one of the Leman Russ battle tanks with his twin-link multi-melter and blew it up with a single shot. Very good shooting there. Captain and his biker gunned down a couple of melter guns in preparation for their charge against the Imperial Guard lieutenant, and the land speeders that hopped up over this bunker washed the parapet with their heavy flamers, killing this entire platoon command squad. Moving on to some assaults in Raven Guard turn 2. End of Raven Guard assault phase turn 2, and perhaps unsurprisingly the captain cut down the rest of the platoon command squad, including their lieutenant. And over on the left flank, the Vanguard veterans reminded us again exactly how deadly they are. The Vanguard veterans with lightning claws placed 4 crack grenades onto the Leman Russ executioner and wrecked it. And the lone surviving Vanguard with a power fist charge into Commissar Pask, 3 hits and 3 pens, and he is wrecked as well. That is another character down. Looks like the Raven Guard have done a very good job with their objectives on their second turn, and they've also done a lot of damage to the Astra Militarum. Let's see how they stand in terms of points. End of the Raven Guard second turn, and they managed to get a point by the Vanguard veterans seizing objective 6 when they destroyed the Leman Russ executioner, and they got a further 2 points for killing 3 characters. They killed Commissar Pask, the captain killed 1 lieutenant, and the land speeders burned out another. Bringing the score at the end of the Raven Guard second turn to 5 points to the Ravens and 3 points to the Guardsmen. Coming in to Astra Militarum turn 3. Beginning of Astra Militarum turn 3, and they have had a horrible draw of objectives. They discarded securing objective 5 at the end of last turn, only to draw secure objective 1 twice and secure objective 2. And as you can see, they really don't have anyone anywhere near this side of the table. So I suppose I'll just have to get on with slaughtering Space Marines, going into Astra Militarum's third movement phase. End of Astra Militarum turn 3 movement phase, and the last remaining Leman Russ battle tank and the Shadow Sword are now under strict orders to take out the remaining Vanguard veterans. The Imperial Guard platoon has pulled back to their barricade line, and they need to take out the Space Marine captain and his last remaining biker, who are now threatening the Shadow Sword super heavy tank. And the Vulture gunship has peeled round with its sights set on the flanking land speeders. They could prove to be a real problem for the remaining Guardsmen if they are not taken out by the Vulture. Let's see how the Guardsmen get on. Going into Astra Militarum's third shooting phase. End of Astra Militarum turn 3 shooting phase, and it's been very, very effective. Sadly, the last remaining Vanguard were all shot down by the Leman Russ battle tank and the volcano cannon on the Shadow Sword. So that is the last of the Bladewing Assault Brotherhood. They are all gone. The captain was absolutely hosed with fire by the many Guardsmen still remaining, and both he and his attack bike are both dead as well. There don't appear to be too many Raven Guard left on the table. The Punisher, twin-link Punisher cannon on the Vulture gunship, hose the land speeders made them jink, but the first land speeder was still taken out and crashed into the rocks. The Storm Raven still have the Terminators and the Ironclad on board, but there do not appear to be too many Raven Guard left. The Tactical Squad are still holding Objective 5, not that they've been asked to, but there's not much else they can do. There are no assaults. Let's see how the Imperial Guard did achieving their objectives this turn. Perhaps unsurprisingly, given their terrible draw, the Astra Militarum didn't manage to secure either Objective 1 or 2 this turn, but they managed to slay the Warlord. They took out the Space Marine captain. However, that has reminded me that Commissar Pask was the Astra Militarum's Warlord, so it's a point for that for the Raven Guard as well. Bringing the score at the end of Astra Militarum turn 3 to 6 points to the Raven Guard, 4 points to the Astra Militarum. I think this battle is shaping up to be a battle of mutual annihilation rather than objective points. Let's see how the Raven Guard get on going into their third turn. Beginning of Raven Guard turn 3, and it's been an interesting draw of objectives for them. They have drawn hold the line, which I don't think they're going to be able to achieve because they only have this tactical squad back in their own deployment zone. They have drawn scour the skies, so they have to take out the Vulture, and they have also drawn secure objective 4, which this big guard platoon are currently holding. The Storm Raven has the Ironclad Dreadnought and the Terminators, so they could go for both secure objective 4 with them while the Storm Raven tries to scour the skies, but I cannot help but wonder if an Ironclad Dreadnought and a squad of Terminators can take out a Shadow Sword. Let's see what the Raven Guard do going into their third turn. End of Raven Guard movement phase, turn 3, and the land speeders have continued to zoom along the top of this bunker line. They can only fire snapshots, but maybe they'll get lucky putting their multi-melters into the side of the Shadow Sword. And the Storm Ravens dropped into hover mode and disgorged the Terminators and the Ironclad Dreadnought. They really should try and clear the guard off of objective 4, charge them, see if they can seize it, but we just cannot resist sending them into the Shadow Sword to see if they can tear their way through it. The only other Raven Guard unit left is the Tactical Squad, still sitting on objective 5. Let's see how the Raven Guard get on in what is going to be an extremely brief shooting phase. End of Raven Guard shooting phase, turn 3, and the 2 land speeders unfortunately missed the Shadow Sword with their snap firing multi-melters, and the Storm Raven gunship dropped down into hover mode. In the movement phase, he only managed to shake the last remaining Lehman Russ battle tank. Let's see what happens in the assault phase. It should be a good one. Raven Guard assault phase, turn 3. End of Raven Guard turn 3 assault phase, and even though it came down to the very last dice roll, the Terminators and the Ironclad Dreadnought managed to do exactly 9 hull points of damage, causing the Shadow Sword to flip over and explode, and the explosion took out a Terminator and 7 guardsmen. Everyone has held morale. There really isn't an awful lot left of either army now. Let's see how the Raven Guard got on with their objectives during their third turn. At the end of the Raven Guard's turn, because it was decided that the Shadow Sword had to die, they have failed to achieve any of their tactical objectives. They did not secure objective 4, they did not hold the line, and they did not scour the skies. And they are going to discard hold the line. Let's see what the Imperial Guardsmen get up to, coming in to their 4th turn. Start of Astra Militarum turn 4, and they have discarded one of their secure objective 1s out of the 2 they had last turn, but they've drawn behind enemy lines, so that's not much better for them really. And they've also still got secure objective 2. Maybe the Vulture gunship can drop down into hover mode and secure that. Moving in to Astra Militarum, turn 4, movement phase. End of Astra Militarum, turn 4, movement phase. And they have no officers left at all now, just sergeants, and their sergeants have ordered them to turn around and see if they can take out the hulking form of the Raven Guard Terminators with a volley of las fire. They really do need to deal with them. The Leman Russ, which is shaken, has spun around to see if it can do anything with its snapshots. Still got its las cannon and heavy bolters that can fire. And the Vulture gunship has dropped down into hover mode, spun around, secured objective 2, and is going to continue to victimise the Raven Guard land speeders with its twin-linked Punisher. Moving in to Astra Militarum, turn 4, shooting phase. End of Astra Militarum, turn 4, shooting phase, and the Guardsmen did manage to take down a Terminator with their volley of las fire. Leman Russ fired to no effect, and the best news of the turn is that the Vulture gunship absolutely tore the 2 remaining land speeders to shreds with his Punisher. Even though they jinked, they just could not stand under the weight of fire hurled at them, and they are wiped out. We'll be back to see what objectives the Imperial Guard managed to achieve at the end of their 4th turn. At the end of their 4th turn, the Astra Militarum managed to secure objective 2 with a Vulture gunship. They did not manage to get behind the Raven Guard lines, not that there is much of a Raven Guard line left, to be honest, and they did not manage to secure objective 1. Bring the score at the end of Astra Militarum turn 4 to 6 points to the Raven Guard and 5 points to the Astra Militarum. Going in to Raven Guard turn 4. Objectives at the start of Raven Guard turn 4, and they have drawn secure objective 5. So the tactical marines that have stood there for the whole game are finally going to contribute a point. They also still have scour the skies, and they still have secure objective 4. But now that the Shadow Sword has been dealt with, perhaps the Ironclad Dreadnought and the Terminators will be able to secure that objective. Going into Raven Guard, turn 4, movement phase. End of Raven Guard, turn 4, movement phase, and the Storm Raven has hovered over to behind the last remaining Leman Russ battle tank to see if it can take it out. The Guardsmen at the barricades see a huge dark shape looming through the smoke of the exploded super heavy tank. It's the Raven Guard Ironclad Dreadnought that has come striding through the bank of smoke to take objective 4 and to burn the rest of them. The Terminators are moving in support. Tactical Marines are holding on objective 5. Going into Raven Guard, turn 4, shooting phase. End of Raven Guard turn 4 shooting phase, and the Storm Raven managed to finish off the last Lehman Russ battle tank, wrecking it with its las cannon and multi-melters. The Ironclad Dreadnought and the Terminators flamed the guardsmen that were still sheltering behind the barricades, killing nearly all of them. There were a couple of survivors, and the Raven Guard veterans followed it up with an assault, wiping them out and seizing Objective 4. And in the end of Raven Guard turn 4 assault phase, the only thing remaining for the Astra Militarum is their Vulture gunship. Let's see how the Raven Guard got on with their turn 4 objectives. End of Raven Guard turn 4, and they managed to secure Objective 4 with the Ironclad Dreadnought, and they managed to secure Objective 5 with their Tactical Marines, bringing the score at the end of the Raven Guard 4th turn to 8 points to the Raven Guard and 5 to the Astra Militarum, and we are going to end the game there. It's quite a surprising result at the end. It looked at the end of Astra Militarum's second turn that they might just blow the Raven Guard off the table. Although there are hardly any Space Marines left, it really is just the Terminators, the Dreadnought and these Tactical Marines who haven't done a lot during this game. I think so far on this channel the Astra Militarum have had quite a poor run of luck. I'm sure they're capable of doing much better. They certainly showed it in this game. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our channel, and there'll be a lot more battle reports and other stuff to come. See ya!